Okay, so I have half a cup of cream simmering, and I have about a cup of the marshmallows from the Lucky Charms or Marshmallow Meaty cereal. It sounds like a lot, but we want to make sure the flavor is really concentrated because you don't need that much cream in your frosting, so I want to make sure the flavor really comes through. Now turn off the heat and just make sure all of your marshmallows get nice and melted into the cream. Okay, so what I've done so far is most of the marshmallow is melted. These last little guys just need to be pressed against the edge of the pot to make sure they dissolve. I've already taken out a quarter of a cup of the cream mixture that we had and set it aside for our frosting. And then to this pan, there was about half a cup left, so I added an extra fourth a cup of cream to equal 3/4 of a cup of cream. I'm going to bring this back up to a simmer. That's going to get poured over our green candy melts, and that's how we're going to make our ganache to cover the outside of our cake before the fondant goes on. Alright, our cream is simmering. I did kind of add a couple drops of green food coloring to offset the kind of barf brown look that we had and just brighten it up a bit. Doesn't look like it's coming through on camera, but we're just going to pour our hot cream over the candy melts. And then we're going to cover the top. You can use a plate or the bottom of your pan. As long as it's larger than the top of your bowl, you just want to keep the heat in so it's melting all that chocolate as it sits. Okay, so our ganache is about done. I did pop it in the microwave for maybe an extra 20 seconds just to help melt some of the bigger chunks. You want to make sure it's completely smooth. So you can use any color you like. The green just kind of works for what we're doing, plus it worked to hide that kind of dark green brown color that the marshmallows gave our cream. So if you were to do white or to do a different color, I would suggest maybe picking out all the same color of marshmallows or complementary colors, because all of them running together just gave it a kind of unpleasant color. Luckily, our bright green ganache is going to hide that. So now this needs to be set off to the side and cool down. We're looking more for like a canned frosting or pudding consistency so that we can spread it on our cake, and that'll be our crumb coat, and it'll be a little bit of a firmer base for our fondant. Now on this side of the kitchen, we're going to be making a very simple American buttercream. I've just got 1 stick of butter. I'm making a very small amount since my cake is small. Again, the amount of frosting that you make is going to depend on the size of the cake that you choose to make. I'm going to pour in that 1/4 of a cup of our reserved marshmallow mixture. I'm not too worried about these clumps of marshmallow. That's mostly going to get whipped in. And then just a splash of vanilla and a splash of almond extract. Just to wake up the flavor a little bit. Now I'm going to whip this until it's fluffy, and then we'll start with our powdered sugar. As you can see, our buttercream now has a nice fluffy, creamy consistency. All in all, I added about 2 cups of powdered sugar and maybe 3 additional tablespoons of cream to get it to this texture, and then just keep whipping it so there's lots of air. I don't know how well it comes through on camera, but it is a slightly off-white with a yellow tinge color from that marshmallow cream that we put in there. I'm not too worried about that because I know that I'm going to add a bunch of color in there to cover that up. If you are worried about it, you can add a few drops of white food coloring or omit the marshmallow cream in the first place and just maybe use a marshmallow extract or something that's not going to give you that dirty color. Okay, now I have all of my icing dyed in the colors of the rainbow. I just separated it into smaller bowls. I kind of made it so that the purple had the smallest amount and the red had the largest amount, because the red you need more. It's going to go around the perimeter of our cake. The purple, we just need a small dot in the middle, so it's going to gradually get to a smaller amount as we go down the colors. I have my cakes chilled and trimmed to about the right size. All that extra space I'm going to fill in with frosting. I made these very small. I just used a little mixing bowl and I baked them for the top and bottom, and then just a little tin, I believe I used a 3-inch tin to match the size of my bowl cakes. And I have my gold board. So what I do is trim off just a bit. I'm going to put a little bit so my cake doesn't slide around my board. And we're going to start frosting. I'm going to start at the outside edge with the red. Make it kind of thick because, like I said, I want it to fill in all that extra space. Now I'm actually going to do my second color is the purple. I want to make sure everything is evenly spaced. So I'm going to kind of jump back and forth from the beginning of the rainbow to the end of the rainbow. There we go. Now we're just going to settle our middle layer on top of that. And we're going to do it all over again. Okay, there's our basic round cake done. Make sure you fill in most of the gaps. Now what I'm going to do is stick this in the freezer because you don't want the colors of your frosting to run when you cover it in the ganache. So I'm going to chill this and I'm going to make sure our ganache is set up and ready to spread on the cake. Alright, so we've got our cake. It's nicely chilled. This is with 2 coats of the ganache. Right now it just looks like a big green apple. My fondant already rolled out. I left it pretty thick because I wanted to make sure it covered any bumps in our cake. So just keep tugging as you're gently working it down the side. Okay, now that's all done. I would suggest watching someone else's tutorial on how to cover with fondant because I suck at it. It did take me a while to kind of cover up all the cracks and creases, but we've got it pretty smoothed out. I brushed it lightly with an oiled paintbrush just to get rid of all that cornstarch dust. And now, almost done, we're time to decorate. We'll clean up any nooks and crannies in the process. Now the finishing touches are going to be pretty easy. I just have a little bit of our leftover black fondant. I'm going to roll it out by hand into a long, keep it kind of thick, just snake or, you know, just roll it out into a thick pole. I'm trying to keep the opening of my cauldron pretty wide. You could, of course, come closer to the middle. Dip that in a little bit of water, just enough to make it stick. Trying to center it a little more. Alright, now it's time for our final touch. I've got these gold coin sprinkles. I found them at Michael's. If you're making a larger cake, you can certainly make your own out of fondant or use gold coins if you're doing a really big cake. Fill it up and make it look like that leprechaun has lots of gold. Alright, there you go. We are pretty much done. If you're worried about it, any of the coins coming out, or if you're traveling with your cake, you can glue them down with some corn syrup. I think mine will be just fine. This will probably be eaten before it ever gets to travel anywhere. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.